In my Need for Speed ranking video, I said if the video received 10 likes, I would then review the Need for Speed movie. So let's check in and see how that's doing. Holy shit. So yeah, I watched the Need for Speed movie. That's it. I remember back when the movie first came out, back in 2014, I watched the movie with my parents, but I had no recollection of the plot. And after watching it again, I know why. It is such a nothing movie, and I felt nothing watching it. So, let's talk about it briefly because I don't have a whole lot to say here. I'm just gonna break my criticisms down into small little points, I guess, mainly just the plot and the acting, I guess, and some other stuff. I've never done this before. Okay, technically I did, but we don't count that. I am basically freestyling this part and most of this video, so let's just get into it. So let's just kick this off already with the plot. It's not terrible. It's not good though either. It's a great value Fast and Furious movie, to put it bluntly. So you got Aaron Paul, who plays a guy named Toby, with his crew consisting of Kid Cudi, Freddie Mercury, and some other guys. They got a little shop that apparently Toby is behind on the loans and can lose the shop. Here comes this guy named Dino Brewster. I don't know why his name it makes me laugh. It's a funny name. Who apparently has some history in this town. Nobody really seems to like him, but gives them an offer to finish building a Mustang that Carroll Shelby and Ford were working on before he passed for a quarter of the profit, which could be used to save the garage. Yeah, this specific plot point with the garage and everything, it seems like it will have some importance. It doesn't. They don't even acknowledge it at all after building the car. At all, it doesn't even return.
Quick editor's note here. Actually, it does have some importance, as later in the movie when Toby returns from prison, the shop is closed and they've lost, ownership of the shop. But again, it still really doesn't matter that much or play too much of a role in the story. So, yeah, just thought I'd add that because I forgot to say it originally.
And when they do build the car, they show a scene that looks like it'll lead to a montage, right? No. It cuts to the car finished already. That's it. I was kind of expecting a montage, but considering this movie has a runtime of over 2 hours, I'm kind of glad we don't have that, just to shave off maybe an extra minute. There is this one moment with a guy from Toby's group named Pete and him mocking this British woman, assuming she knows nothing about cars, and what a surprise, she knows about cars. Such a funny bit, man. It's so funny. This bit is so funny. Ha ha ha. It's definitely not stupid. Right after selling the Mustang, Pete hurts the Brewster's ego, and even though Toby tries to defuse the situation, so to speak, Dino just forces them to race, and they just race, I guess. They do this using some Ageras, some Koenigsegg Ageras. The winner of this race would win the losing party's portion of the deal from building the Mustang. But the race comes to an end when Dino decides to murder Pete, and because of that, Pete is dead. And Toby then goes to jail and is questioned about what happened. Meanwhile, Dino is such a hater, he just decides to show up to Pete's funeral. Apparently, witnesses only saw 2 cars at the scene. I guess that's what they're trying to tell Toby. Coincidentally, not the car Dino was driving. And Dino had 2 witnesses slide for him already, I guess. So I guess the cops didn't believe Toby, which, to be fair, Toby didn't really make a case for himself, at least a solid one at that. So I guess it's whatever, but you'd think there'd be at least one guy that could testify for Toby, but nah. Maybe a person that got it on video or camera or on a picture, something, I don't know. Fast forward to him getting out of prison, and the Mustang they sold, he somehow convinces the guy he sold it to give it back so he can use it to race in this special race called the De Leon or something, ran by this guy called Monarch, who is played by Michael Keaton. Imagine the shock I felt when I saw Michael Keaton's face in this movie. I completely forgot he was here.
Caller. Do I get to talk? Daryl, have your parents ever smacked you upside the head? See, this is a case where sometimes you just need to be kids.
And now Toby goes on a road trip with the British lady he mocked and part of his crew that they end up finding and meeting up after, him being to prison and all that, and getting back together and doing some stuff and just, going on a road trip to get to the De Leon. And he just kind of expects to get an invite to this, which is what you need in order to know where the race is, And yeah, he does end up getting the invite, obviously. I mean, you watched a movie before. You know how this works. There's a part where Dino puts a hit on Toby, and the reward being a very expensive Lamborghini. You'd think a bunch of people would come after Toby and his Mustang, considering a very expensive car is on the line. Only a small group of people come together to get Toby, however, and they fail, obviously, and nothing ever comes up about this. They just kind of forget that Dino put a hit on somebody. Not a lot happens in the movie. There are some scenes of Toby and the British lady who goes by Julia Madden, like the football, being romantic with each other. It's fine, it's whatever, I don't have a problem with it. But when they get to this hotel in California, and right after leaving it, get abruptly hit by a truck, hospitalizing the Julia girl and leaving Toby without a car. So the Mustang they used the whole movie is gone. There's no point to that. Toby then meets with Madam Webb, and we get some of the best dialogue ever.
I know that Dino was there the night my brother died.
Yeah, he was. Anita, I need a car.
What follows that would be Toby finding the Conan's egg that Dino used in the beginning of the movie, and he uses that in the De Leon the next day. And then the day of the race comes, where we get some interesting competition like English Paul, the Gooch, and Texas Mike, who looks like Jordan Peterson if he did coke. Okay, so I guess just Jordan Peterson then.
We'll see who cancels who.
Pretty much all the racers besides Toby end up crashing, with Toby winning the race, and apparently just because Toby drives the red Koenigsegg, apparently they just know that there was a third car at the scene all of a sudden, and then apparently Dino's gonna get a lot of years because of it. At least that's what I'm gathering from what was said in the movie, which is stupid. I don't care, it's stupid, it's dumb.
Another editor's note here, quickly. Actually, they find out that the red Koenigsegg belongs to Dino. Honestly, that's on me. That's my fault for not hearing that part. I completely missed that and forgot it was even mentioned. But yeah, I guess that kind of explains it and makes it make more sense, but I still believe it's stupid, so yeah.
Toby goes back to prison, but fast forward to him getting out, and that's where the movie ends. You know what? I don't think it's terrible. However, I didn't find it that entertaining outside of a few moments that didn't even take up to 30 minutes of the 2-hour watch time, but that's just my opinion, I guess. Acting wise, it's not great. You got some good actors here like Rami Malek, Michael Keaton. For some reason, actually, how the hell did they get either of these two on this movie? And of course, Aaron Paul, the star of the show, I guess. Of course, nobody here is going for an Oscar-worthy performance, and I didn't expect that. I mean, come on, it's a movie about Need for Speed. This is the same franchise that gave us Clarence, unironically. At best, I think the acting is okay, however, a little bit awkward at times. I don't think anyone does a downright terrible performance, though, don't get me wrong. Although, it probably would have made the movie a bit more interesting. The stunts and effects, for the most part, are solid. I think they're good. Not amazing or anything like that, but good, especially for this movie. And apparently, for at least the chase sequences, they used practical effects instead of CGI, so props to them on that. Need for Speed has never really had any good stories in their games. That's no secret, obviously. And that's what usually ended up making them funny and entertaining, at least for me. The Run is probably the only story that I could have ever taken seriously in the slightest. This movie is kind of in between of that. It's funny, unintentionally, but I can at least take it a little seriously at the same time. Most of the times I laughed was when they did these stupid-ass close-ups on Aaron Paul's face. Every time they cut to his face, it looks like he's gonna shit himself. A lot of the other jokes, at least for me, were just okay for the most part. They didn't really land for me. There was this one bit where Rami Malek just starts taking his clothes off as he walks out of his office. It was really confusing, if anything, but this part in the elevator was kind of funny. I didn't laugh, I didn't even crack a slight smile, but I will give it to them. It was kind of funny in my head. The rest of it was just kind of it's whatever. It didn't really make me think, damn, that was funny, but oh well, maybe it's just not for me. The music was cool. Only bringing it up because if I don't, I have a feeling I'll be waking up to an assassin outside my front door. Now, as an adaptation of the NFS games, it does kind of seem a bit hard to do. There isn't much to work with. You have The Run, which is the most story and best story in the entire franchise probably, which I replayed since making that ranking video, by the way, even after complaining about replayability. What the fuck was I saying? It's a great game. I think it's one of the more underrated NFS games. Ignore my criticisms I had in that video, it's a good game. But yeah, there really isn't much to take from the games besides cars, racing, and police, I guess. And you know what movie franchise did that? And even before this movie? Fast and Furious, which is all this movie comes off to me. Just a watered down, great value Fast and Furious movie, which also aren't even that great either. Overall, I just did not enjoy the movie that much. I felt nothing for most of it. There were some enjoyable moments, but they were few and far between, at least for me. I didn't find it all that funny. I didn't find it all that interesting. But yeah, there are a few moments here that I kind of enjoyed it, but again, they were short-lived. However, I don't think it does anything downright terrible. There are some bad moments in the movie, yeah, but not too many to make it unwatchable. And again, just like the enjoyable moments, they're very few and far between for me. But that's just me. I know some people thought it was cool, so I'm not going to try and take that away from them. If you enjoy the movie, that's great. I'm proud of you. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you thought about the movie. And make sure to subscribe, because I don't really have a reason for you to. Just do it. And if you enjoyed the video, good. Now goodbye.